Welcome to the Music Retail Show. Having conversations about the musical instrument industry to take you and your business farther.
The Music Retail Show.
Hey, we are back with another great episode with Brian Wampler of Wampler Pedals. Man, I'm telling you what, this was a great conversation that Richard and I had at the Summer NAMM show. We talked with Brian about how he got started and the years in between and to where they are heading now. Man, great guy, smart guy, great conversation. You need to check it out, and we'll see you on the other side.
Does half the cost and double the value sound good to you? What about made in the USA? Franklin Strap is 100% American made, and you get double the quality for every dollar you spend. Call us today, 615-791-7057, and get in the strap business. Franklin Strap, the soft strap.
All right, here we go. I think we're going to maybe be doing our last episode for the day here at the Summer Show for NAMM 2019. We got a great guest, Brian Wampler with Wampler Pedals.
Brian, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, very cool. It's great to meet you for the first time in person. And,
my pleasure.
Heard about you for years. Now we get to meet you.
None of that stuff's true. None of it's true.
Well, we've heard tons of stuff. So,
well, most of it's not true, right?
Right.
There's been some good stuff, you know.
Well, that stuff's true. It's the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly
the bad
that's
stuff.
not true.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you've got a deep history in the music industry here. Love to know, when did you get started and why pedals?
Golly, so I started playing guitar when I was 7. Well, my parents bought me a guitar when I was 7, and I attempted to play guitar for a few years. And then, just over the course of through my getting into my teenage years, this is back in the 80s, whenever being a guitar player was like a cool thing in school, because there was no Xbox and there was no, internet or anything like that. So you had the jocks, you had the musicians, you had, you had the smart people, the geeks or whatever, and I tried to be in the musicians.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends play guitar, and so collectively, like they were really good players, and I was decent-ish, but I was never like a virtuoso at all. And I always was like trying to chase like a certain tone. It might have been at that point in time, like a Scorpions tone or a Van Halen tone, or like a specific guitar tone. And so I at that time I didn't know that a lot of that stuff was like big Marshall stacks, or
moving a lot of air,
and the recording techniques and like the microphones, like everything that went into it. And I was broke and buying a lot of pedals, as a teenager and into my 20s.
Oh, so you were a guitar player?
Yeah. And through my 20s, I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
But I was always very entrepreneurial, so I did worked a lot of things in the construction industry, actually.
Yeah.
So I started roofing houses and then started remodeling houses and working with guys to flip houses, and in the part-time, I had learned to modify pedals because I had all these different guitar pedals, and I had, of course, at that time read online, but this is about 2001 maybe, that different people were modifying pedals and selling them, and I'm like, can't be that hard. I mean, I've got a soldering iron. It's a couple of parts. It's basic electronics.
Yeah.
And so I just was reading what other people did and started experimenting and had a lot of fun doing that. So I kind of just got more and more into that. And I live in Indiana. So I was driving back and forth between here in Nashville and Indiana like 2 or 3 times a week playing with the band, because at that time I thought, you know what, I really want to be in a touring band. I'm going to tour the world. It's going to be great. And instead of people asking me about my playing, they're asking me about the pedals that I had on my board.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, this is
You didn't know whether you wanted to be offended or complimented.
Well, I mean, it's a compliment, but like my goal was to get to more bands to play with. And instead, people were asking me, well, what pedal is that? That sounded great. And so I saw opportunity. I'm like, people are liking my pedals. I should probably make some more and maybe sell some on eBay.
These are ones that you had modified?
Both. The ones I built and ones I had modified.
Oh, okay.
So I was just selling them on eBay and gear forums.
What year was this about?
This is for 2005.
Okay.
Somewhere 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there.
All right.
So I mean, I think Keeley was selling a lot of compressors. Analog Man was still doing a lot of things. Force Full Tone was, still huge.
Oh yeah.
The quote unquote boutique pedal industry wasn't anything like it became. So it's still fairly new for a guy to be selling or making his own pedals and selling them.
Gotcha.
It wasn't unheard of. It just, you didn't have Reverb.com and you didn't have 100,000 people trying to sell Fuzzface clones on Reverb. So I did pretty good with that. Built up a customer following with a newsletter list, which at that time nobody was doing any newsletter marketing at all.
Okay.
Ran some Google AdWords back when Google AdWords were cheap.
Oh wow.
Nobody was doing Google AdWords back.
Yeah.
So I mean, I came from a family of marketers or salespeople.
Okay.
So I kind of had that intuition. And I was raised in that sort of way. So I knew there was things I could be doing using technology that others weren't doing to help grow my business. And so it really from there it was just an organic growth. I started accumulating retailers. So I was talking to retailers and trying to figure out how do you go from selling pedals B2C, direct to customer, into more of a B2B environment where you're selling to retailers.
Yeah.
So I started learning about margins and how the whole thing is put together. And that's really what we focused on, which threw me more into manufacturing.
Because you're doing it all yourself.
Because I'm doing it in my garage, being a couple guys. And I'm learning that this sucks. I hate, building the same pedal over and over is not fun.
Yeah.
Building one pedal for yourself, a lot of fun. So it's totally different. And I mean, this is just all the natural progression of business growth and figuring out what you're good at. So I started, I found a manufacturer who had built for me in Kentucky, and they were really good at that. They built speakers and stuff as well. And I kind of gave them that part, and I took the creative side, I like to call it, product creation and the marketing and everything else but the manufacturing. And we just started growing organically a little more at a time. And then, so fast forward a few more years later as things are still growing, and I secured a manufacturer that could do a little bit more output because we were exceeding the capabilities of who we were using at that time. And now I'm working with a company called Boutique Amps Distribution. So they manufacture a lot of different things, and they also distribute. So, for example, they build Friedman amps. They own Egnator. They build Tone King. They own Synergy.
Okay.
So basically,
names.
they partner with a lot of companies.
Yeah.
They partner with a lot of companies to help them do the things that those companies are best at, and they take over the parts that they're not good at, or not at least the parts that they don't want to do. So for me, that was the manufacturing. That was the distribution. And it had grown to a point where I just simply could not grow my retail base up enough to where I really wanted to be. So I licensed that part to them and focused completely on new products and then B2B marketing. So really, that's where we're at right now.
Man, very cool, very cool. So as you became more popular and the business is being built, how did you feel when other smaller builders were starting to do what you were doing? Did you see that as a cool thing, or did you see that as, oh man, there's more people doing what I've been doing?
No, I never really saw it as a threat. I mean, to me, that's just the natural progression of business. Yeah. If there's a way to make money, and if that's the new panning for gold, then people are going to pan for gold.
Yeah.
So even when people would clone my stuff, I didn't really care about that. What did bother me was trademark violations. So if they tried to pass it off as a Wampler product, hey, you call this whatever you want, I don't care, but you can't call it my product.
Yeah.
But no, I never really saw that as a threat. If anything, maybe a little flattering.
Yeah.
And even smaller guys, I was always pretty open to if they had questions about how things work. How do you get into retailers, or how do you secure manufacturing whenever you can't do it yourself? I've always kind of been open to them reaching out to me and asking me questions. So sort of a mentoring situation.
Yeah, man, very cool. Yeah, you got to be open to encouraging other people to, be where you were, 5-10 years earlier. So that's encouraging that you do that. So
yeah.
So what is your main platform today as far as, do you have a someone distributing your product. You're doing a lot of the marketing. Is that what you said?
I do a lot of the B2C marketing. Yeah.
Okay. So people looking for your product, they just go to your website, or how do they get to your product?
So basically, yes. I mean, they can go to the website. They can buy the product from the website. I generally encourage people to buy it from the retailers.
Okay.
More often than not.
So you have several retailers signed up, because some pedal companies just want you to go direct. Some people have a couple people they sell to, but you have a...
I really prefer retailers because it's a retail experience. It's the experience of going in a music store,
Gotcha.
sitting down in a quiet environment, not like this, where you can
a quiet environment.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully like a room that you can turn it up.
You can hear it.
Yeah, you can actually get to hear what you're playing through. And I just always thought that was a cool thing as a guy growing up, that it was always fun to go into a music store and just play on everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so hard, even though I love YouTube videos, it's so hard to listen to a YouTube video and really get an accurate representation of that product. No matter how you record it, it's just hard.
Yeah, no, I get it. When you're testing out a pedal, it's almost like the same as an amp and a guitar. It's like you want to feel how it
Yes.
sounds coming out of the guitar, out of the amp, and you get that, and you can't get that through a YouTube video.
You cannot get that through a YouTube video. You can try to explain it, but it's not the same thing. It's like trying to explain how a ham sandwich tastes.
Yeah,
exactly. So do you do much online as far as having people sell stuff online, or is it mainly brick and mortar? Combination of both.
Combination of both. I mean, I don't want too many online only retailers, because a lot of our, like Sweetwater, the Sam Ash, Guitar Center, like we have a lot of retailers that have brick and mortar and
plenty of representation for anybody that wants to go hear it.
Right, yeah.
Because sometimes people, they may not live close enough to go hear it, so they're kind of stuck. But you're saying, hey, I've got guys all over the place. You should find a music store close.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to our website, you can just click on dealers. There's a map there. You type in your zip code, and it'll tell you the nearest dealer. And there's probably one within 60 miles of you, more than likely.
There's a lot of great pedals out there, a lot of great companies, as you know. But what separates your pedals from other people's, in your opinion? Like I said, they're all making good pedals, but you probably have a few distinctive things different than what they have. What's some of that?
That's a good question. There's several things at play there. I mean, I think a lot of people look at us as a company that does what they call amp in a box type of stuff, which is distortion or overdrive pedals that sound somewhat like the actual amp.
Okay.
So, for example, a Marshall JCM 800.
Great amp.
We have a pedal called the Plexi Drive, which does kind of a representation of that, which is super handy if you're playing in a club and you need an AC30 sound, and you need a Marshall Plexi sound, and maybe a Mesa Boogie, like all these different type of tones, but you really don't want to bring 4 different amps, and you're more into the analog stuff, so you don't really want to bring your Kemper or your Fractal or your Helix or whatever, or both. I mean, we have a lot of customers that do combine analog pedals with their Helix and get the best of both worlds. So we do have that. But I mean, as far as what we do best, there's so many people building really good guitar pedals. And so I kind of feel one of the things that we probably do best is we do put a lot of time into creating products, creating a cool customer experience. But we also do a lot of customer service. So, and everyone says that. But I mean, what I mean by that is, for example, we get a lot of customers who ask us, hey, I have this, I have this PV product and it's not working right. I say PV because, I know they're right over here.
There's a sign over there.
Yeah. So, I have this PV product and I can't get it to sound right. And so we'll walk them through, okay, well, what amp is it? It's the Classic 50. What guitar are you using? I'm using the Les Paul.
Another great amp.
So, what should I do to get this sound? And so we'll walk them through that process, even though we're not making a bit of money off of it at the time, even though it's not our product. It's just the whole idea of providing that customer experience with them, where they know that we're not just there to make some money off their backs right now. We're actually there because we care.
Yeah, absolutely. You're creating loyal customers to Wampler.
Right, and there's a lot of times where I say, you know what, you don't need a pedal. You need to buy some speakers. You know, buy some greenbacks, put them in that amp. That's going to get you the sound you want.
Yeah. So going forward, I mean, with the world that we see, and there's a lot of choices in the pedal world. So when you guys are developing anything new, I mean, what drives your decisions from this point going forward on what to put out on the market or what to build? Are you just wanting to create more options and more choices, or? Man,
it's so tough. It's a really weird time with guitar pedals right now. There's all kinds of new things coming up.
Yeah, there are.
I mean, from app-based stuff to just things that make weird sounds.
Yeah.
You can't really classify, like, you don't know what to call the effect, but it definitely does make some sort of weird sound.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for us, I don't think our customers really look to us for weird, odd noise-making devices.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for us, it's kind of like bread and butter. I think people look to us for good reverbs delays, good overdrives and distortions, good fuzzes, good compressors, just kind of the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
I would like to do some more weirder type of things, but I don't think I'll ever rely completely on doing that sort of thing unless our customers are demanding it.
When you think weird, what do you think?
When I think weird?
Yeah.
I mean, like, for example, off the top of my head, Earthquaker Devices does this pedal called the Dispatch Master. Super cool pedal. Super fun to play. I don't know what to call it. I can't say it's a delay. It's kind of a fuzzy synthy LFOE.
Yeah, sure.
Like it does this thing that's cool. That's the best way to describe it for me. But and I love that. But I've never thought I need to make something that does that. For me, I'm looking at, like, as a player, what am I looking for? And I'm looking for really good sounds that feel good, that sound good, that have multiple options without being overwhelming. Like, for example, I hate banks. Not banks where you put your money in, but banks like where you're programming this. Select the arrow to the right, go up, hit edit, scroll over 5 different categories, go down 4 times,
turns me off big time.
Yeah, I want to be able to turn a knob and get that sound. So I'm always looking at trying to provide as many options with as easy of a user interface as I can possibly get.
Very cool, very cool. Man, what's your favorite pedal that you've made?
I get that question a lot too. Like, what's your favorite pedal? I'm like, my favorite pedal is the one that's not out.
The one that just sold.
It's the one
You're still trying to think of it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the pedals that we have, I've played through them so much.
Yeah.
It's kind of like eating the same thing every day. I like it. I mean, pizza's great, but what you like is something a little different every now and then. And right now, my favorite pedal is probably the one that's on my breadboard, which is breadboard is the device I'm creating new products on. But I mean, from the things that we have from the line, I would probably say, like, Pinnacle is a really cool pedal. A lot of it depends on what I'm playing. If I'm playing country stuff, it might be more like a Tumnus or a Paisley Drive.
Yeah.
Or if I'm playing something that's, maybe a little more metal type of sound, then usually go with like a Dracaris or a Triple Rec, which is one of our pedals as well. I mean, it just really depends what I'm playing. And that's, as a player, that's one thing I have a problem with, because I play in a cover band and we play all kinds of stuff.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, and so, like, it's not uncommon for me to start out with a set with 10 pedals, and then during the break change half of them.
Oh, really?
I'm changing this all up because I don't have a lot of stage space, so I can't have a 40 pedal board, 40 pedal space pedal board. But I also like variety too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I remember the first time I saw back in the late 90s, actually somebody had a full drive too, and they actually had 2 of them on the board, and I remember sitting there going, why would you do that? Why do you need that? And they're like, well, I want 2 different sounds for 2 different parts of the set. And, that's just when pedal boards were starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So, no, I totally understand that. So you want to have the options, but I guess that's why, multi-effects units have always held their own, because people just want to have choices. But, at the end of the day, man, I think, analog pedals is, I don't know, still superior sound. What do you think about with all the Helix and
I actually love the
Kemper
technology
and everything?
Yeah, I love the technology. I mean, and we are doing more things with digital. I don't want to chase Helix, for example, like that.
Sure.
We're never going to compete with Line 6. Like, that's just, we're a different type of company. It's like a hand-built Telecaster trying to chase Fender. It's just not going to happen. So while I do love analog and it has a lot of great benefits, I also love digital stuff and working in a digital environment. There's things you can do in digital that you cannot do in analog, and vice versa. There's things in analog that just don't come across the same way in digital. So I don't really have a preference there. I like them both for different reasons.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. What else you think? Anything else you want anybody to know?
We were talking about your podcast.
Podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah. Chasing Tone.
Gosh,
We're talking about tone. Let's talk
Right.
about
Yeah,
Chasing Tone.
So tell us about give us the name and
Sure.
what you
So
do.
we have Chasing Tone podcast is our podcast that we primarily talk about guitar tone related things or guitar gear related things. So it's a little narrow, but it's fairly popular within that niche. We also have a YouTube channel. I try to do a video once every week, but here during the summer it's been about once every 2 weeks. And then we have Instagram and Facebook and a Facebook group and a Twitter page, like all the normal things that businesses usually do.
Yeah. So, but you can find the podcast on just about every platform that's out there.
Yeah.
And that's called Chasing Tone.
Chasing
Tone.
podcast.
So we just want to make sure everybody can find it and go check it out. So, do you guys bring in a lot of guitar players, or is it mainly just you and somebody
It's
talking
usually,
about?
Yeah, it's usually me and one of a couple different guests. So sometimes it'll be a few of the guys that work with me.
Yeah.
Other episodes use a guy named Blake Weiland, who he has another podcast called the Tone Mob Podcast.
Okay.
Which it's in the same space, so it's a little weird, but he's a buddy of mine, and it's just
Guys kind of collaborate
we
together a
kinda
little
collaborate
bit. Yeah,
together,
man.
yeah.
Why
And
not?
So I mean, it's the guitar industry, and especially with guitar pedals, it's a really small industry.
Oh, yeah.
Where I mean, everyone kind of knows everyone else, and we're all friends. Even though we're competitors, it's completely different than like if we had a pharmaceutical company or something like that.
Yeah. Actually, we were talking to another manufacturer earlier, just talking about in this world, man, you don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
You
Right.
just stay friends, you're family, you help each other out. You still compete a little bit, but that competition's good because it drives everybody to make, better products.
product,
Right.
Yeah, better
absolutely.
products. So, yeah, we're all for that. So, but, well, very cool. So, Brian Wampler Pedals, man, we appreciate you coming on here,
Yeah.
man. We need everybody to go check them out if you haven't. I have a feeling a lot of people have. But, we need to push it as much as we can.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Own a music store or sell guitars online? Need more inventory to stay competitive in today's market? MIRC is the nation's largest wholesaler of quality used guitars. Visit www.mircweb.com to become a dealer today. Thanks for listening to the Music Retail Show.